The next guest we have on stage right now is someone who, in many ways, began her acting career here in the South. She is from the South, but she transcends many, many barriers and has fans all across the country who've tracked her career. We're very happy at the India Today Conclave South to have with us at this time actor, dancer, singer, artist, Aditi Rao Hydari.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Aditi, welcome. Really good to have you here. I hope you got something to eat as well at the India Today Conclave South. We were very keen to have you at this conclave, Aditi, because your South connection is, of course, it speaks for itself. Everybody knows about it. It's very visible in the work you're doing as well. But the first question I'd like to ask you, after a very difficult year for everyone, is what's keeping you busy these days? What's going on in Aditi's life right now?
Yeah, it has been a difficult year for everyone. But I think this year has made me very aware of the fact that I really, really must learn to be very grateful for everything that I have, all the love that I have around me, and all the work that I have, and basically to really count my blessings. And I'm saying this knowing that I'm privileged and I'm loved. So even though it has been a hard time for me, I think I've really, really, really come out of it being very, very grateful for everything. Now to move to your question, I actually started working in August. Everyone was convinced I would not land up to shoot because very few people were traveling at that point. My manager, Shweta, actually flew down to Hyderabad to make sure that I get on the flight. The producer called me the morning that I landed in Bombay and said, "Have you reached Bombay?" But I was there because I was so excited to get back to work. And I realized what being on set means to me. So I have been busy actually, juggling multiple industries, juggling different kinds of work, singing sometimes. But yes, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi, and that's really kept me busy. And more than that, it's the people that I'm working with that have, that have really, really challenged me, pushed me, and made me look forward to getting back to work, even at times where everybody is just so afraid. So yeah, I've been busy and very happily busy.
Has the work piled up because there's been a delay in many things, things have been pushed back, everything has changed. I imagine shoots also take longer now because of the restrictions. What's that like?
So work has piled up, but I'll tell you the last year, just before we went into lockdown, I was literally in tears looking at my calendar. And I was just like, this is humanly impossible because I literally was in a situation where I was going to be traveling, reaching a city, not sleeping, shooting, then getting back on a flight, traveling somewhere else. And today I know I have to be grateful for all this, but at that point I was just like, how am I going to do this? And then suddenly lockdown happened, and then nothing happened. And then now I'm catching up with everything that was meant to happen, and I'm still catching up with it because it's like, I literally feel like it's racing ahead of me and I'm like sprinting to catch up. But that's a good space to be. And what was your other question?
As in the pandemic set. What does the pandemic set look like?
Yeah,
because it takes longer, I imagine, to make films and make shows now.
That's actually a really good question. The pandemic set is actually a very, very efficient set. At least all the people that I have worked with, all of them since August. It's so efficient. People are so sensitive. They're caring. They are careful. They're mindful. And trust me, it can happen on a film set because there's so many people and everybody's involved doing whatever that they are doing. They sometimes tend to overlook a lot of things, but I find that the post-pandemic set or the pandemic set we are not yet post-pandemic, but the pandemic set is actually a very sensitive set and a very efficient set. And I'm really enjoying working in the way that we are working. And I hope that we can take the best of this situation and carry it through. Yeah, and time is not being wasted. Like nobody's sitting around because everybody knows how important it is to get the work done, you know, in that particular time. Like 15-day shoots are happening like in 10 days. And yeah, so there's a lot of consideration, I think.
I want to come straight to the South because you've been doing much more work, you know, in South cinema than in the North. You've done quite a bit of North as well. You still are. Tell us about the difference, Aditi, because, you know, we hear about the North-South divide a lot, especially in politics during election season. What's it like for you? You know, I know you're constantly asked perhaps to compare, but what's that experience like?
I am constantly asked this question. Yeah. This is true. But over the last 3 years or 4 years, I think though I did start in the South, that was pretty much because I was a dancer that I did that, and I wasn't really an actor at that point. And so I actually became an actor later, in about 2010-11. But I think ever since I did Mani Sir's films and I did 2 back-to-back films with him, that's when suddenly a lot of work in the South opened up for me. And I found that I was just getting a lot more interesting, challenging work. I was getting to work with a lot of actors I really admired, directors I admired. I found people were writing scripts for me, waiting for me. And I was getting a lot of varied work, which was exciting to me. And you know, maybe it's my dance background, but I feel like if I'm not being pushed or I'm literally not being kicked, I feel like that, no, sorry, okay, that sounds terrible. But if I'm not being pushed, I feel like I'm not working. And I want somebody to literally like get something out of me.
And that's much more in the South, you're saying?
Much more, much more. Having said that, I'm so not resentful of it. As in, resentful of it in terms of, oh, why isn't Hindi giving me that kind of work? I never feel like that because I feel like I have worked with a lot of really good people in Hindi as well. They have been good to me. And it is from there that I have grown into this space. So I enjoy all of it. And today I feel so much more fearless in choosing scripts, in making decisions. I don't feel like, you know, I feel like the 50 days that I spend on a set, I want to enjoy working, I want to learn something, I want to like, you know, I want to be like sort of challenged by it. I want to come out of it feeling happy that I spent that time with those people. So those are the ways I make my decisions now. So that fear of I need to prove this to this one, oh, I should do this so that I can do this. So all that calculation is not there. And I really, really enjoy that. And in the difference, you know, Shiv, very honestly, I genuinely feel this, and I've said this multiple times because I do feel it, and I am actually experiencing it. I believe that a set is really about the people who make that set. That is the director, who's the captain of the ship, and the team that the director hires in various departments. That is how a set is actually made. And it's really not about the north-south, you know, what time you wake up, what time you sleep, how efficient it is, how inefficient. All that doesn't matter. You know, what really, really matters is what it is that you're creating. And I find with films today, and I can say this very confidently with films, having done multiple languages and having received love and acceptance in multiple languages, thankfully, I can very confidently say it's about making people feel it. And feelings don't have language. They don't have caste. They don't have religion. They don't have any kind of boundaries. They are universal. And literally as an actor, I want that person who is watching me and my film to take me home with them, take me and of course the rest of us home with them and keep me there and remember me and think of me and come back to look for me the next time that I'm on
I just want to, I want to pick at that for a moment, Aditi. Are you saying, or should we infer that in some ways through your experience, South cinema is, or the opportunities you've had are more meaningful than what happens elsewhere in the country? In Bollywood, in the North?
You know, honestly.
I'll
tell you, I'm going to tell you very honestly. No.
I'm just asking, is it more meaningful? Because I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
I'm not taking it as that. I'll tell you something. See, people have a kind of typical understanding of what it is to be challenged, etc., etc. But I today, again, very confidently can say that a film in which I am there for 25 minutes can be as beautiful to me and as amazing a journey, like suppose a Padmavat, where there were 4 principal like actors and characters. All of them had more screen time than me, but I loved what I did. I mean, in terms of, I'm not saying that I did well, I'm just saying I just enjoyed working and I loved how people received it. And that can be as beautiful for me as, say, a Katravalidai, which is Manisar's film, where I'm in every single frame of that film. Yeah. Having said that, in terms of quantity, yes. Every single film that I have worked in the South has been very satisfying for me in terms of my experience and the challenge. And the fact that people have really waited for me and written for me and really nurtured me. In Hindi, I've sort of learned as I go along, I've stumbled, and then I've kind of found my way and been like, okay, this is how it is that I want to work. But it really happened to me after I did Manisar's film. After I did Katravalidai, I was just like, oh my God, this is what it is. I mean, like, it's really about, you don't have to like go out there and prove anything to anybody constantly and feel that kind of pressure. It's really about, you know, it's about, like, for me, it's so important to be a child on set, to have that kind of nurturing environment and to be free. And I know that if I work with people and directors where I'm left free, and I know that if I fall off that cliff, you know, I want to be able to run to the edge of the cliff and be free. And if I fall off that cliff, somebody will catch me and put me back on that cliff and say, fly again. I like those experiences. I yearn for them. It's almost like a addiction. And I think that started for me after Katravalidai, and I continuously look for more experiences like that.
Since you mentioned Padmavat, I'm going to jump to something else that's been occupying a lot of us who've been covering what's going on in the cinema world right now, and that is the issue of crackdowns, of censorship. We'll come to OTT in just a bit. You've done quite a bit of work there as well, but on things like there are strictures now where small sensitivities sometimes blow up into bigger issues. There are, non-state groups that take over these causes, like Padmavat experienced as well. Tell us what that was like, as a member of the crew, of the cast of Padmavat, and the way you see how people react to shows and movies right now. How does that make you feel?
This is a very difficult one because, it's going to be my understanding of it. See, I tend to be a little idealistic in the way that I think, and I have this very sort of almost naive, childlike, oh, we should all love each other and we should all just why can't we all just let each other breathe, etc. But I have also been brought up like that, and I truly believe these things, but I know that the world is not like that. Having said that, I still like to function, in a way that I still keep the belief alive, the magic alive. And so I find it unfathomable why somebody would literally strangle an artist's vision, And I feel that somewhere as a society we need to understand who is an artist, and the fact that artistic freedom is very important. Freedom of speech is very important. Freedom for an artist is very important. And I find that societies grow through, from there. That is what it is all about to me, okay? So I don't understand it at all. Having said that, it is a reality that we deal with. It makes me sad, but it is a reality that we deal with. And also, like the first point that I made, that it is important for us to understand who is an artist and who is being manipulative. So I think that's the difference, right? There is maybe manipulation at one end, and there is something who just wants to tell you a story. There is someone who just wants to tell you a story, and I feel that that person deserves the respect and artistic freedom to be able to tell that story. And I feel that all of us, as a society, we are a beautiful country. We are so syncretic. We are so multicultural, lingual, all of the above, yes. And I feel that we have been a country which has been there has been so much mutual respect for every kind of person in this country. So why, I think that is the most beautiful thing about our country, and it is very important to protect that. I don't have any, control over these things. Yeah. I say whatever it is that I can, and I say it out of respect for the people involved. And because I truly respect them, like whether it's a Sanjay sir or a Mani sir or a lot of the directors that I've worked with, and I know that a lot of people do have problems with films. The other thing that I do want to say is that the film industry sometimes there is too much pressure on the film industry. I mean, at the end of the day,
to play safe, you mean?
To play safe, to speak when people think they must speak, to not speak when people think they must not speak. I mean, ultimately that person is also a human being with thoughts, it's literally like you do and you're damned, you don't and you're damned. It's a difficult place to be. Having said that, as an actor, like people do ask me, it's so difficult being an actor, your privacy is gone, people jump on you for everything. Again, I like to be a positive unicorn at all times and say, that's true, but the positive side is so huge. I mean, the amount of love and unconditional love and loyalty that you get, and I've seen that a lot in the South, especially with the fans in the South. Nothing can compare with that, and there's a few people who get to live these lives, So I try to look at the positive side. There is this as well, and it's complicated. But it's too many wheels within wheels within wheels within wheels. You can't, that's a whole different discussion, and it can take days.
No, absolutely. But for instance, since I'm a TV journalist and we cover these every day, today there's, Bombay Begums is in the headlines because of a notice that's been sent to them over the depiction of one of their characters, a child character. We've seen, problems with Tandav. You mentioned, strangulation of the artistic vision, Aditi, and I agree with you on that. Is this a slippery slope that's become, in your view, more difficult to navigate because sensitivities are amplified? There is a sense that outrage can have an impact on artistic vision, and therefore this is only increasing now?
It is becoming more complicated for sure, and I think everybody has to constantly watch what they are saying, and this is a reality that we're dealing with. I don't know what I can say. I have no idea because we all deal with this every day. I don't really see a solution or what it is that we can do or how we can change this. Or, and having said that, it's a very hard question for me to answer. Also, without getting into, without somebody taking umbrage. Right. That's the other thing. I don't want to hurt anybody. I really don't want to hurt anybody.
Anything you say, you're saying will hurt somebody.
It could. It potentially could. And I really don't want to hurt anybody. And I feel like people misunderstand very easily. And somewhere, that sense of trust or sense of humor, all of it has kind of gone. And I feel sad about it. And I genuinely don't want to hurt anybody, And I know that there are a lot of people who also don't, but they end up doing it. And trust me, as artists, being an artist is really just about loving, It's so much about love. Love of beauty, love of aesthetic, love of storytelling, love of just people. We people watch constantly, mannerisms. We don't judge. I can say this for myself. I try never to judge because everybody has their story. That's what it is, being a dreamer, being an artist, being childlike. So I'm like, why can't we just keep that alive in us, Yeah. All of us, not just us actors or musicians or dancers, everybody, we all have that child in us. We all have that dreamer in us. Why can't we just tap into that? Why do we have to be so full of glass and nails and always ready to attack?
Yeah. There's no doubt that this is a less innocent time, more prone to outrage. There's absolutely no dispute with that. But I'd like to pick on something else that you spoke about, Aditi, which is how the industry is, there are these expectations, from the voices. Speak now. Why aren't you speaking now? इस पे क्यों बोला but not on this, selectivity, hypocrisy, like with many industries, but more so on the film industry for obvious reasons, because recently that came into the spotlight when there were these income tax crackdowns on certain members of the industry like Taapsee Pannu and Anurag Kashyap, etc. And there was one view, not all views, but one view that this was because they've been outspoken, because they've questioned or criticized the powers that be. Is that how do you read that? Because that is something that is alleged quite often when some people within the industry speak out in that way.
The word that you used is correct, alleged. Yeah. Because I would never know, Shiv. I mean, if we all knew it to be a fact or not, then maybe one could do something about it. I don't know. But it's alleged, right? Having said that, I will talk about something I know a little more about, because I don't want to get into this. It's, something that involves, I don't know, like things that I really don't know about. But I will say this, that in terms of the pressure that maybe actors face and the film industry faces, I find that again something that I don't understand it, because we are meant to have views, but then when we have views, we are pulled up for it, or if we don't have views, we are pulled up for it. So it's a bit of a complicated place to be in. Having said that, again, it's about, to me, like just like filmmaking, what it is that you stand for, to me, actually, it boils down to intention. And getting the, and always, I think it is important to be honest to oneself and to one's own intention. And if one is, then hopefully people see it. Hopefully. You can never say, because people will always take umbrage to something or the other. But you can hope that people see that honest intention. Having said that, I am very well aware that a lot of people also manipulate, So people will speak about something because it suits them, not speak about it because it doesn't suit them. People are afraid or not afraid or want to go out and, make a point of something. I'm saying, again, I'm not judging, but at the base of it all, I want all of us to just ask ourselves one question. What is our intention? And do we really believe this? Do we really want to see it through? And if we do, more power to you. And if we don't, and if we're just using people around us and using it to our own advantage, why be that person? And I'm saying this not just for actors, I'm saying this for across the board, everybody in every field. So again, maybe a very naive approach, and I've been told this so many times by so many people, I'm just like, okay, that's Aditi, who I am, too bad.
I would actually say that you've already answered your question in one of your previous answers when you said there are wheels within wheels. And I think in many ways it's so complicated. Yeah. There are so many moving parts. There are so many compulsions and motivations that, utopian expectations from this are, maybe, well, utopian. But speaking of artistic vision, and the reason I want to keep talking about this is because you've worked in more parts of the country than, many contemporary actors. Would you say that this creative freedom, artistic freedom is greater in the South compared to Bollywood?
#guts. Is it? No, yeah, that's not true. It's really about the individual and the people who are making these films. It's not about the industry. I don't think it's about the region. It's really and very, very truly about the filmmaker.
But have there been any experiences that you've had in the South where there have been big, political protests or outrage or public anger? There are sensitivities, and then there's upheaval that impacts the movie itself.
I'll tell you one thing that that really, really impacted me, and is very important to me, and everything that I do is like, everybody knows I love Mani sir, and I love him as a father, a mentor, a guru, and also somebody who I really, really like. I think he says very little, but what he says really means a lot to me. I remember after Katravelli Day, where there was a lot of discussion about the film and whatever. And I asked him about it, and I said, how do you feel, when people discuss your films so much? There are literally theses written about characters and films. And so he said, to me, what is important is that people discuss. It should not be, it is very important to have discussion and debate around the material that you make and the story that you tell people. It should impact them in some way. And what is important is for us to know, did we make the film we wanted to make? And did we do that with honesty? I mean, he didn't use the word honesty, but he just said, did we make the film we wanted to make? And that's where this whole thing of intention stems from. So now if you're asking me about, I think, again, I'll just go back to that, because I really think that is the most important thing in anything that you do. Having said that, about this whole thing of artistic freedom and, have there been upheavals, etc., etc. In the work that I have done up till now in the South, it's just been 2016 to now. Yeah. I've not done that much that I should forget, but there hasn't actually been too much I haven't encountered a situation like this.
Okay, so that's a pretty clear answer.
No, wait.
So there has been, you've thought of something?
No, I did think of something, but I'm not quite sure if it really answers your question. So we were doing a film called Sufiyum Sujatim, and that was a story about, there was a mixed religion love story that was the base of that film. And I did remember thinking, because I almost was preempting and anticipating drama around that, but it didn't happen. I mean, not really.
And if that same movie had been made elsewhere in the country...
Very smart.
Is that what you're trying to say? That
very smart. No, I'm not trying to say that.
Okay.
But it tends to happen. Yeah. So, and people are very, like I said, on edge. And everybody's eating glass and nails for breakfast for some reason. So there tends to be that thing, my claws are going to come out. What are you saying? I'm waiting. So no, it didn't happen. It was quite okay, actually.
The other hot button topic when it comes to the cinema, especially Bollywood.
Can I just say that this clock really makes me nervous?
You're an actor. You can't be unnerved by that.
I just said I'm an artist. I'm a dreamer.
You were just talking about how the pandemic set is very efficient. See, that's a clock, so it's going to keep us efficient and make us keep time.
But monster.
You can just look at me or look at the audience. Don't worry about the clock. Nepotism is another...
This is a bad word. I don't even want to talk about it.
It's a bad word, but does it exist? Does it not exist? How much does it impact
I'll tell you something.
Actors who are not from within the industry?
It's not just actors. It is something that is prevalent in the entire world. It is, again, I'm saying this having been in the industry without anybody's hand on my head, making my decisions, and I feel that it actually empowers me to make my own decisions, and I've understood this today, and I'm fine with it. Having said that, in every single industry all across the world, or whether it's business or everything, it is much easier for a child of that family to have access to whatever it is that the family is doing, and so too with the film industry. Opportunities are more, opportunities are greater. Your 1 is equal to 10, whereas my 1 will be equal to 1 or maybe 0.5. But I personally don't say that with any kind of resentment, because every little uphill climb that I have makes me who I am. It teaches me that much more. And that's my journey. What will I get, putting somebody else down, resenting somebody else? Like I said, I'm an artist. I want to be full of love. I want to be a dreamer. I want to be a child. If I start thinking about somebody else and, oh, they're so lucky, oh shit, I have a shit life, it's going to be I'm just going to be feel miserable all the time. I don't want to be that person. Having said that, I do wish that it could be, we could have this ideal situation where you find talented people and then create stars out of them, because it is important to be a star. However much it is important to be a good actor, it's also important to have that kind of power. which a star has. Here it tends to be the other way. You find somebody who is there and in a perfect place, and then you try to stuff some talent into them. So I feel that it's a little detrimental to what it is that we're trying to do. But I feel that, you know, and having lived this for the last 9 years or whatever, I find that every decision of mine, like, see, I am my decisions. So whatever decision it is that I make, that is what makes me who I am, and that is what empowers me to be the person I am, and that is what makes me fearless. And I'm okay with that. It's fine. And to single out one industry and say, yeah, I mean, I understand that people have had their troubles, but that is so across the board.
Okay, well,
I guess we're more interesting to talk about.
Making peace with nepotism and understanding it for what it is, I appreciate that answer, Aditi. Coming to the final part of this interview, which is artist, dreamer, child. You know, when you made your on-screen debut, you weren't even an actor, you were a dancer. You also sing. Do you find the time, I mean, now that you're an actor, you're doing all this fantastic stuff, what's happened to dancing?
This is a very sad thing. So I learned from a lovely, lovely teacher, Leela Samson. And she's really like a second mother to me, and she now lives in Chennai. So whenever I'm in Chennai, and I luckily do quite enough work here, I run to class. I quite often stand behind class and try and sit in Aramandi, and then everything hurts, but I do it. And once a dancer, always a dancer. I mean, it's like literally music and dance is in my blood. I can never separate it from me. But I find that with acting, and I have to say, I am so lucky to be in this profession, because every single it's like such a beautiful amalgamation of all the art forms, and I get to be on set with so many artistic people. So I miss my Bharatnatyam, but I don't miss dancing, because literally you put on music, I will dance from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. without a problem. And I'm always dancing and I'm always singing, and I really, really enjoy it, and you can never take that away from me.
You say that you're a dancer, but you're not a singer, but you have sung in film. And that's the reason why, Aditi, the last request that I make of you today is you're going to get a chance now to sing for us. You can't say no. You've already committed to it. So you're going to sing for us. Over to you, Aditi.
This already committed to it is basically one gun is put to my head, and I don't have a choice. I'm a very shy singer.
I've heard you sing. You're fabulous. Obviously, other people think so too. So now for us.
Okay. I would sing a song that I sang in Tamil with...
Perfect. Tamil song.
Yeah, Tamil
Perfect.
song.
Go for
Okay.
it.
வான் வருவான் தொடுவான் மழை போல் வீறுவான் மருமம் அறிவான் என்னுள் ஒளிவான் அழகில் நிமிர்வான் தொலைவில் பணிவான் கர்வம் கொண்டால் கல்லாயுரைவான் கல்லாயுரைவான் உறைவான் காதல் வந்தால் கடையாய் நிற்பான் என் கள்ள காமுகனே அவன்தான் வருவான்.
Big hand for Aditi Rao Hydari, ladies and gentlemen. Aditi, we wish you the very best. Thank you for being here at the India Today Conclave. We know that there's this huge backlog of work that's now being pushed out by you to meet all of your deadlines, and we'll be looking out for it. Thank you so much for being here and taking all of those questions.
Thank you, Shiv, and thank you, everyone. I was happy to be here today.